How are you?
My goodness, what a mission getting on here.
I know. Sorry about that.
No,
So
not your fault, Matt.
you
Thank
got
goodness I'm
Charles.
on.
This is Charles from Infected Blood AU.
G'day, everybody. Thank you for having me on, Matt. I've got the most incredible news. I probably don't look that well.
That's all right.
But the good news is I made it. I've been waiting 30 years to deliver this evidence to Australia. Our government has been lying to us, and any of you feeling intimidated over this vaccine intimidation, feel intimidated no more and start to have hope, because the most stunning evidence you'll ever see in your life has been found by us.
Yep.
Have you heard of the American vaccine or pharmaceutical company, Merck?
Merck, yes, 100%.
Well, yeah, there's a reason why contaminated blood was covered up. There's a reason why Australians haven't heard about tens of thousands of Australians who were infected by blood transfusions and blood products. And it's because what they were hiding was that they were using our voluntary, can you believe these people? They were using our voluntary blood donation system in the 1970s and 80s for vaccine development. And they were doing this secretly with the company Merck. And the evidence is with us tonight. We've shared it.
Oh, wow.
They advertised in sexually explicit magazines. Now, let me be clear. The Red Cross also collected blood from prisoners, in people incarcerated in jails like Pentridge, at a time when they were told not to do that because it was so dangerous. It was also completely unethical and the wrong thing to exploit prisoners. In no way do we want to attack people who've been in jails at all.
No.
I've got people who are friends, and no, that's not about that. What it's about is the dangerous and unsafe, crazy vaccine development that was run when the Australian Red Cross advertised in sexually explicit magazines. Now, if you go to our website, infectedbloodaustralia.com, you'll see a section, the evidence they didn't want you to see, and you'll see a timeline. And if you go down to the 1980s, 1982, you'll see it. Just as the world starts to wake up about the threat of HIV, Merck, Merck, this is why it's so scandalous. No wonder they've been hiding it. They started advertising for people, sexually explicit magazines, for them to come and donate blood. No blood bank in the world did that. But Matt, in New York and San Francisco, Merck were doing vaccine development in sexual health clinics, like VD clinics, right? And they were getting gay men to be part of this vaccine development, okay? Right, well, that was controversial enough, okay? But get this. What they tried to do in America is they've tried to persuade their blood banks to use blood donors for vaccine development. Well, they said no, because it's completely mad. It's criminal. Well, guess what? They did it here. They used us. They used Australians, these bastards. And guess what? They were getting people to come in and saying, oh, well, if they've got hepatitis B, we'll find out on the test that they've got hepatitis B. Tests fail. You can't use tests like that. And so people who are at risk of hepatitis B were told to come in and donate blood at a time when HIV was out there and they couldn't test. And at a time when they knew hepatitis C was out there for decades before and they couldn't test. And no wonder this stuff's been hidden. And so what the bloody hell was Merck doing here?
That's crazy.
It's here, mate.
That's on your website.
It is on our website. We've just released it. We will also see some memes about these ads. And what we wanted to say also, we've got other incredible evidence, Matt. We found out that when the Red Cross knew that it contaminated the blood supply, do you know what the first thing they did? They blamed or seemed to infer that the homosexual community were responsible. It's a absolutely outrageous piece of Australian history. They deserve to go to jail. And in fact, our group's going to call for jailings over. Get this. So they basically came out and said, oh, gays must no longer donate because promiscuous gays must no longer donate. This is in 1983. Why say they're promiscuous? Why label any group of people? Why label someone a certain way? Well, it seemed bizarre. And so the whole of the Australian public, in the fear of AIDS, said, oh, a bit like COVID-19 and the fear now, oh, you're promiscuous and you want to donate blood, you're bad people. No, what the Red Cross had not told anybody, what they didn't tell Australia, was they specifically targeted the gay community to ask them to donate blood. And then when it went wrong, they blamed the gay community. It is incredible, these bastards. The evidence with us. It's here now, Matt. Crazy. Matt, I've seen...
So what's the next step, Charles? What are you guys planning to take this stuff to court, or do you need a lawyer to get behind you? What's the next step?
We need a Australian lawyer, and it would need to be a reasonable sized firm with humanitarian law experience. We have lawyers internationally. We also just heard tonight that it sounds like the UK government are quaking in their boots now because they've heard that the judge that's investigating them in the UK wants substantial damages over the evidence they've found. Oh, it's going to be huge. We're talking, I mean, this isn't about money, okay? Governments would like to make people think it's about money. It's not. It's about answers, okay? Why were they advertising in porno mags, for example? You know, we want to know why when so many people have died. But it sounds like it's going to be billions and billions of pounds. And you know why? Because now the world is waking up to the fact that governments lie and governments knowingly distribute tainted product. Now, look, I'm very against mandated vaccination. I don't care if I'm called names. I'll tell you why I'm against it. I've seen hundreds of people I care very dearly for die. And I had those last conversations, okay? And they were assured that everything would be safe too. Never mandate these things. It takes away safety. And what you don't know is, how did they make them? We never know. We just found out now that the Red Cross were advertising at a time when no one would in sexually explicit magazines. Now, I want to put this to you. We went and had a look at all sorts. We had to do this as part of our research. It's incredible. We went and had to go back in the 1980s to look at all the sort of sexually explicit magazines and papers of the day.
Yep.
And they weren't advertising in Playboy, okay? They were advertising in other, gay-related sexual preference magazines. Yeah. Now, we know why that was, because they were building the hepatitis B vaccine. And they were wanting to use the gay community to collect their antigens, because at that time vaccines were blood-based, not as they are recombinant-based now.
So it was all antigens. So it was all using basically where someone's recovered from hepatitis B or has it in their system and their system's fighting it, they would make a vaccine that uses the antigens that were the fighting material and put it straight into the vaccine. But that means it's blood-based, so you're taking all the viruses and diseases with it.
And guess what they did with the spare material that they didn't want for the plasma fractionation? What do you think they did with the spare blood?
Yeah, probably went into transfusions and other things, I'm guessing.
No, they put it into a process called plasma fractionation, which makes medicine for haemophiliacs.
Oh,
Factor 8. And the famous author, God, I wish he was alive to know this, Bryce Courtney.
Yep.
The much-loved Australian author Bryce Courtney lost his son Damon, a haemophiliac, to HIV/AIDS. And by God, I wish he was here now to see the evidence.
He wrote a book about it.
He did, April Fool's Day. And by goodness, we wish we had this evidence now, because clearly we're going to have to look, there's going to have to be a murder investigation. There's 1,400 people were killed by this. No wonder they were hiding it. So guys, please go to infectedbyaustralia.com and check the evidence they didn't want you to see. And also, Matt, we're so outraged by this that on the 26th of May, we're mass emailing Greg Hunt and we're mass emailing the Shadow Health Minister, Mark Butler. They don't reply to our letters anyway. They're totally indifferent. They don't care. Well, let me tell you something. This time, we're going to make them care. How dare Australia, how dare the Red Cross and CSL cover this shit up?
Yeah.
Advertising sexually...
On the 26th, sorry, Charles, on the 26th, I'll get you on for a live so we can get our guys emailing as well.
Oh, great, mate. It should be good on the 25th if you could get me in, because it's on the 26th.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd love that, Matt. And we could talk more about this evidence, and I'll be able to show you actual evidence that when we do the chat.
Yeah, I'll go and grab one of the memes off your page. I'll post this live, and then I'll put up one of your memes after the live to get people over to your website.
Great. Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. And mate, thank you for having me on originally. You gave us our first break, basically. No one else, all the journalists, no one would. And we've never forgotten that. And it was frustrating because I wanted to get this evidence to you earlier, but we had to be sure that what we had was real. And it is real. It is. And for people, please, guys, any of you feeling intimidated over this vaccine, just remember, don't be, because this evidence shows you, hey, this government, listen, they're not to be trusted. Please, please don't feel bad for not trusting them, because by God, they lie. 40 years they've been covering this up. 40 years.
Full corruption. Thanks again, Charles, for coming on. Get in touch with me before the 25th, and I will put up a meme straight after this from your page, and we'll get people over there to make sure they're following what you're doing.
Chat again soon, Matt.
Okay, see you, Charles. Bye.